Have you heard of the haunted house in Villisca, Iowa? Until 3 weeks ago, neither had I. But now, I can't stop thinking about it. My name is Anna, and I've always been fascinated by true crime and the paranormal, not obsessively, just enough to occasionally binge a documentary or podcast on long drives. My friend Shirley is the opposite. She prefers reality shows and cooking competitions, staying firmly away from anything morbid. It was a Tuesday night in late October when I stumbled across a video about the forgotten massacre, The Truth About Villisca. The thumbnail showed an old white farmhouse with shadowy figures in the windows. I clicked, instantly drawn in. The video showed historical photos of the Moore family and their house in Villisca. On the night of June 9, 1912, 8 people were murdered in their sleep with an axe, 6 members of the Moore family and 2 young girls who were visiting. The killer was never caught. What makes this case unique, the narrator explained, is that the house where these murders occurred still stands today, preserved almost exactly as it was that night. And you can stay there overnight. I paused the video. Who would spend the night in a house where 8 people were brutally murdered? The answer came immediately. I would. By midnight, I had texted Shirley, road trip next weekend. I want to stay in a haunted house in Iowa. Her response, you've lost your mind. No, 3 days and several convincing arguments later, including promising to pay for gas and accommodations, Shirley reluctantly agreed. Fine, but if I die, I'm haunting you forever. Little did she know how prophetic those words would be. Like and subscribe for Part 2, The Journey. The week before our trip, I devoured every bit of information I could find about Villisca. The Moore family, Josiah and Sarah, and their 4 children, Herman, Catherine, Boyd, and Paul. The 2 Stillinger girls, Lena and Ina, who had asked to stay over after a church event. How they had all attended a children's program at the Presbyterian Church on June 9, 1912. And walked home together. I learned how a neighbor noticed the house was unusually still the next morning. No smoke from the chimney, no movement inside. How the neighbor sent her daughter to check, and the girl saw something through the window that made her run home in terror. All 8 victims were found in their beds, their faces covered with bedclothes, their heads crushed by Josiah Moore's own axe, left at the crime scene. As Friday arrived and Shirley picked me up in her Toyota Corolla, my mind was filled with these grim details. You look like you haven't slept, Shirley said as I tossed my overnight bag into her back seat. I've been researching, I replied. There's so much about this place. I spent the next hour telling her everything as we drove west from Chicago toward Iowa. Shirley listened with increasing concern. Anna, why exactly are we doing this? Don't you want to experience something beyond explanation? Something that challenges what we think we know about reality? No, she said flatly. I want to live to see 30. We fell silent as we drove through endless cornfields, the landscape growing darker as afternoon faded into evening. Like and subscribe for Part 3. Part 3, The House. We arrived in Villisca just after 7 p.m. The town was tiny, just a few streets of modest homes and businesses that looked frozen in time. As we followed the GPS to the address, the atmosphere in the car grew heavy with tension. It's not too late to find a Holiday Inn, Shirley offered. We've come this far, I said. Besides, we have the whole place to ourselves tonight. The house appeared suddenly around a corner, a simple, white 2-story structure that looked completely ordinary in the fading light. If not for the small sign in the yard, you'd never know its horrible history. We parked and just sat there for a moment, staring at it. It's smaller than I expected, Shirley said. 8 people died in there, I replied. 8 people. The stairs protested under our weight as we ascended, each step bringing us closer to the rooms where 8 people had met their violent end. At the top was a small landing with 4 doors. The parents' bedroom, the children's bedroom, a spare room where the Stillinger girls had slept, and a storage closet. The children's room had 4 small beds arranged against the walls. More stains, more shadows. The air felt colder here. They were just kids, Shirley said softly. The youngest was only 5. The spare room where the Stillinger girls had slept was the smallest, with just one bed. According to reports, 12-year-old Lena showed signs of having woken during the attack and attempted to fight off the killer.